there is nothing that's forever in reality. It's not in nature and nothing. I mean, even if you're in an amazing relationship, death will do you apart.
So one of the challenges people face when it comes to divorce is a recognition that the dreams they thought they would achieve while in the relationship aren't going to be. It's their forever story. How can we get them to let go of that story and recognize really what's happening around them?
Oh, if it were that easy. Let me tell you, I think this is the most heartbreaking part about divorce. Because for most of us, maybe not you, you're of a younger generation, but we grow up thinking that this knight in shining armor is going to come into our lives and whisk us away and take care of us and make us happy, right? That's the first red flag about looking externally outside of ourselves for happiness. But we fall into these beliefs. And this happened to me, where then after the end of the marriage, I was crushed and broken. I wrote about that in my book called Wine, Sex, and Suicide, My Near-Death Divorce. I think it gives you an idea of the devastation and despair that I went through. And a lot of that had to do with the belief of that forever story. Your identity is gone. The dreams that you thought you were going to have together, the extended family can be just vanished in thin air. All the plans that you have and the ideas that you have about growing old together and going off into the sunset of your lives, that's all of a sudden not going to happen anymore.
I am so sad.
I know, it's heartbreaking. But one of the things, our beliefs can be very deep-rooted, and it does take a while to unearth those deep-rooted beliefs. But there is a very good practice that I found very helpful and I help clients with about mindfulness. Because more often than not, we're either dipping back into the past in our thoughts or projecting way out into the future. Neither of those exist. The past is just memory trace and the future doesn't exist. So if we can just be present, as Ram Dass says, be here now. If we can be present in this moment, it's from that starting point that we can actually then start to create a new reality for ourselves.
We're also describing like fighting against the societal training, for lack of a better term, of you're supposed to find that one person who will address all your needs, and that gets indoctrinated into our thinking, into how we're raised, into everything we're exposed to in the media, and it's a lot to undo. How can someone kind of fight through that and recognize what the reality is?
Looking at reality. I mean, there is nothing that's forever in reality. It's not in nature and nothing. I mean, even if you're in an amazing relationship, death will do you apart. I mean, there is not a foreverness of it together. There's always some halt somewhere. I do get that many of our beliefs are brainwashed through stories and things that we have, and then so obviously our expectation is that, and we will be hurt by those expectations not coming through. But I think when you face reality as reality, it's easier to handle reality versus the time that we create all these fantasies, and all these fantasies are getting crushed. Our youth is not forever. Our bodies are not forever. No relationship is forever. And so therefore, if we are holding on to something supposedly that it's forever, we're going to face disappointment no matter what.
But that doesn't mean that you can't have a relationship that endures, that stands the test of time. But if you're hanging on to these unhealthy relationship myths, then you're dooming your relationship right from the start. And one of those myths is that my spouse or my partner, boyfriend, girlfriend can fulfill all my needs. They're not supposed to. It's not what marriage is for. And if people could correct these myths, they might approach marriage in a much healthier way and protect themselves from having to face divorce.
I think that what makes people so miserable and so upset when they're going through a divorce and they lose their identity is that their reality doesn't match their expectation. And what you need to do then, when you realize that it's that disconnect that is making you so unhappy, you have two choices. You either change your reality or you change your expectations. And I think divorce gives you the opportunity to do both. And it doesn't mean that necessarily you have to go through with the divorce, changing your reality, maybe changing your relationship and yourself in the relationship, and you end up staying together. Or it could be realizing that you shouldn't stay together and you get divorced. And you change your expectations. I mean, where do your expectations come from? A question that I like to ask people when they say, well, it should be this way, it should be that way. Why? Who said it? And ask yourself, is it true? Is it true that good marriages last forever? Is that really true?
Well, I can tell you who said it. Walt Disney and the Brothers Grimm, right? So, I mean, we all saw Cinderella, and he put the slipper on her and they whisked away. We didn't see them 5 years later when she said, "Get your goddamn feet off the couch." Like, that's, you know what I'm saying? There's a whole cohabitation that takes place where people change and evolve over time. People who can't let go of their forever story are actually living in a past fantasy and not in their present reality. They have to let go of their expectations so that they can move past that forever story.